things about your people, our people, that we did not know before. So it is important that we have these things. Why is it important? Because that knowledge is powerful. Yahuwah's law is the way of life. As Suleiman wrote, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Yahuwah and keep his commandments, for this is man's all. Ecclesiasticus 12 and 13. It is important that we understand these principles and understand this. Why? Because without this, we are lost. We have no foundation. Foundation is important of our people. Knowing the things that our people have done, knowing their cry, hearing their cry, and being able to identify, with the things that they went through. Watch this, so that we do not repeat the same mistakes. And sometimes we want to repeat the victory, not the mistakes. So in order to know that, we've got to be able to read, and we've got to be able to pinpoint those things. It tells us again, Dawood wrote, the fear of Yahuwah is the beginning of wisdom. A great understanding have all those who do his commandments. Tehillim 1:11 and 10. Wisdom is to keep Yahuwah's law, and is a tree of life to those who take hold of her, and happy are all who retain her. Mishlei 3:18. It is important that we understand that we build our lives on the point, as I said before, that we come to understand the plight of our people. How do we? What gave them voice is their poetry. Not just their poetry, but their stories, their writings gave life. When we were in school, and those that are in school now, we were basically denied this information. We were not given this opportunity to have the thing. Like I say, I found this book in Goodwill. You want to find great books? Go to Goodwill. Goodwill have great books. I'm saying that because this is a book that I bought. Anana Bonton. She's French, Bonton. And it's a book that I pulled out that I was looking at in my library, and I saw it, and I was like, oh my goodness, look at this book, and it's almost a mint condition. And I was like, oh great, this is a book of poetry. I like poetry, and I like writing poetry. When you look at the Psalms is just that became overwhelming. Why? Because he wrote about it. He spoke of the things of the Abba, and he made sure that he wanted everybody else to know what he was feeling and what he was going through. Are y'all hearing me? This is important. Why? Because our people had a voice, and their voice was silenced because what they were going through. And so it is imperative that we understand that, once again, we know the Torah. There is no question of that, none whatsoever. But we are the only people that struggle with our people. Surely I have taught you statutes and judgments, just as Yahuwah my power commanded me, that you should act according to them in the land which you are going to possess. Therefore be careful to observe them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the peoples, who will hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Devarim chapter 4, verses 5 and 6. It is important that they know who we are. But a people that does not know their past and don't know anything about their origin or their culture is a people without, it's just like a people tree without roots. If we have no roots, you know what they did wrong, and how do you know what they did right? Right. If you have never really stepped into this poetry, onto Levi. 10 and 4. And it is so. All right. All right. Proverbs, Mishlei 18 and 4. Read that for me. You have to read it for me. Read loud and clear.
The words of a man's mouth are deep waters, but the fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook.
It's a bubbling brook, a bubbling brook. The words of a man's mouth are deep maying. The fountain of wisdom is a flowing stream. The fountain of wisdom is a flowing stream. That means it doesn't get stopped up. Are you following?
God.
It doesn't. And the mouth, the words of a man's mouth are deep mayim, or waters, wisdom. Not just somebody speaking like a fool,
Kind.
but somebody that has something to say. And you got to understand, in spite of the things that have gone on in our people's lives, they had something and they still have something to say, something that will help us to not follow in their paths of error. And then some of it is to help us follow in the right path and to do what is right. But we will never know those things if we don't connect ourselves back to these things and hear what's going on. You have phenomenal men and women poets that are our people, but their voices once again were silenced when they had their stuff. Find a good book about our people.
That's right.
I say good, I mean a great book about our people that shows who they are, that allows them to speak. When I was in school, the only thing they wanted us to learn about was Shakespeare and Edgar Allan Poe. And I think a few other ones. I really didn't pay attention to it because I just didn't like it, because it didn't speak to me. You got to understand, our people's voices and the things that they endure speaks to us, and it shows us. They had